channel, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Bree, and today we have a college story time. As you can tell from the title of this video, it's about my first day of college and I went to the hospital. So let's get into it. So a little bit about me. I am very independent, love my parents, but I was ready to get out. I did my years of high school. I was very excited to get on my own at college, just an independent free spirit. I was ready to do everything by myself, live the college life. And by the way, I go to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I am a senior here. I have one semester left and I'm excited to be done, but it has been a very up and down time here. I have a lot of crazy stories. It's college, a lot happened. Family drove me up. It was my mom and my dad and my little brother, and I was excited and ready to get my fresh start at college, and I had everything packed up and they drove me here. We had to go through all the necessary things, get me checked in everywhere, make sure I was set up with everything. They went to my dorm, they helped me unpack a little bit, bless their hearts, because I have a lot of stuff, and they helped me do my room a little bit. I had come with my friend at the time, and it was going really well, and finally it was time to say goodbye, and they were like, we know you're very independent, we know you're excited to be done, we'll let you go, we just wanted to make sure you were set up. I was like, thank you very much, I'm excited, did all the hugs and the goodbyes, cried a little bit, but I was really excited. Hanging out with my friend, there's a lot of first day thing activities you were able to go do. I was able with my freshman group of people, we went to the stadium, we got to see the football stadium, and we walked around campus and we had a lot of fun. And I was excited to be going out and doing, college things for the first time with my friends. And my friend had said, hey, me and some people I met, some new friends, we're gonna go out and kind of walk around downtown, did you want to come out? And it was like maybe 10 o'clock at night and I was not feeling good. How lame is that? It was my first day of college and I'm going to bed by 10 p.m. That's lame. But I said, hey, I'm gonna skip, I have a really bad headache, I don't feel good. And she said, okay, I'll text you, feel better. And she left. And so I'm in my dorm room, I'm going to bed at 10 p.m. and I'm laying there, I'm just really not feeling good. I tried to take some Motrin, I just was feeling awful. And so I went to bed. And around maybe midnight or 1 a.m. I woke up and my throat hurt really, really bad. And so I kind of went to my little mirror in there and I was checking my throat and it looked really swollen around my glands and I wasn't sure what was going on, but I felt really bad still. My head still hurt and my throat was swelling up and I kind of was getting a little nervous. So I texted my dad, I woke him up and I said, hey, I'm not feeling good. Do you know what this could be? What should I do? And he just said, take some Motrin, go to bed, let me know how it is, if it's not getting any better, but I'm sure you'll be okay. I said, okay. Took some Motrin and went back to bed. Around 2, I woke up and my throat was so close to being closed. I never had my glands swollen that bad before. It was really difficult to breathe. I've never been in a situation like this before, and so I panicked. I ran to the bathroom because the bathrooms were in the hallways in the dorm rooms, and I went where it was more bright and I looked at my throat and it was closing up really bad and I panicked, so I called my dad and I could barely talk. It sounded like golf balls were in my throat, and he said, hey, my throat's closing up, I don't know what to do, what hospital can I go to? Because I had just gotten here to a new city. It was only about 45 minutes away from home, but I had never really been here and I didn't know what hospital I should go to, so I had him kind of help me figure out where I should go insurance-wise and all. So he said, I looked up some hospitals, you should go here. And so at 2 a.m. in the morning by myself, by the way, I do have my boyfriend that I was dating at the beginning of the year still. He was about a 10-minute walk in a different dorm away from me. He could have driven me, but I felt awful waking him up and I was sure it was nothing, so I didn't want to bother him, so I drove myself to the hospital, barely able to breathe. And so I went in there to the emergency room. I said, I can't breathe, my throat's closing up, so they took me right away. They got me checked out really quick. They looked at my throat, they were a little concerned, but not too concerned. They put an IV in me, they got some fluid back in me, and they just pumped an IV in. And they said, you might have strep throat. So they gave me some pills. They said, just take 1 or 2 of these and then go to bed, and then in the morning take another 2. And I said, okay. And they said I should feel better, and I was feeling a little bit better from the IV they gave me, and that fact they gave me some medicine. And so they let me go, and I do have pictures, so I will be posting those up on the screen. And that was from the first time that I went to the hospital that night. Still not feeling the greatest, but I went to bed. And then 3 to 4 a.m. rolls around, I wake up and I can't breathe. It's never been this bad before. I panicked so bad. I was terrified. I couldn't breathe. My throat was closing up, and I was so alone. My roommate didn't care about me, and she was sleeping anyway. So I got dressed really quick, and I grabbed my keys and I went again. And it was about 20 minutes away. The person at the desk was concerned to see me back again, but I couldn't even speak at this point. My throat was so closed. It literally sounded like I was gargling golf balls. And so they rushed me right back again. The doctor put a flashlight in my throat and he went, "Oh." And if the doctor's concerned, you know that's bad. So they rushed me back again. They put an IV in me again. They got me all ready. I was feeling woozy and I couldn't really stand, but I was on adrenaline, and so I was at least able to get in there. They tried to give me some sort of muscle relaxant, and they gave me that medicine with a shot, and then I had the IV in my arm, and then they said, "We're going to be giving you this medication. Do you have someone to drive you? You're not going to be able to operate a vehicle." So that's when I knew I had to call my boyfriend, and so I did, and I called him to wake him up, and I was texting him, and he was like, "I can't understand you." And I was like, "I'm gonna text you," and I told him what was going on. I said, "I'm at the ER, something's wrong, I can't breathe, they're about to give me medicine, and I'm not gonna be able to drive myself home. Can you please come?" So of course he did. He rushed right over. He was upset that I didn't tell him beforehand that I've been back and forth to the ER without him. And so he called my dad on the way over. My dad came to get me at 3 a.m. and then they both came in. I was so relieved. I was crying because I was scared and I didn't know what was going on. And he said, "Pretty sure we misdiagnosed you." Then I learned it was mono. He said it wasn't strep throat. It can be misdiagnosed as that. It's definitely mono, but you caught it at an early stage. And so I learned with mono, there can be different varieties of it. You can be a little bit on the lower end, or you can be on the very extreme end. And they said that I thankfully caught it at the early stages, and it wasn't as extreme as it could be, but even then I still could be out for months and I can't be around people because of how contagious it was. And I had no idea where I got this from. I wasn't, around other people. I only had my boyfriend. I wasn't sharing food or drinks with anyone. The last time I could remember, I shared a drink with my friend that was months ago, and so I'm not sure how I even got it. But thankfully I knew what it was, and that I was able to go on with there to know how to fix it. When the doctors were able to release me, that meant I had to go back home. My first day of college, and I was going back home in the opposite direction. I wanted to be at college and have fun and start my exciting new independent life, and I was back home in my room. And my dad, bless his heart, he went to the store, he got me a bunch of water, and he got me Gatorade to make sure I was feeling okay. And I had to start college off through a laptop, which is very difficult when it's not supposed to be. And so I had to talk to my teachers through email and say what happened. I was back home, and they tried to work with me as best they could, and I had to start all of my assignments through the laptop and try to get started that way. So that sucked. And I was home, and I was alone back in my room, and that was awful, and I was just sick, and I wasn't allowed to go back to school for about 2 months. And then I was finally able to go back, but it was insane. My throat was still pretty swollen, so I was terrified to get called on in class to talk because I sounded stupid. So yeah, that was a very hard adjustment, but I'm just glad that I was able to get better. It was incredibly scary, and it sucked to have to go to the hospital on your first day of college at between 1 and 3 in the morning and rush back and forth, and I wasn't able to breathe, and that just sucked. And thankfully I had my boyfriend there, and I had my family, and they all took care of me, and I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that I'm better. But I was not able to go back to school for a couple months, and even then I couldn't kiss my boyfriend for months, and so all we could do was fist bump each other. I was in a creative writing class, and my professor was so funny, and he was just a very lively person, and we had meetings with him pretty often. And so when I did go back, I told him what had been happening and how I had to rush to the hospital, and I told my story, and I'd been fist bumping my boyfriend for months and months, and he just lost it. He thought it was the funniest thing, and he was like, "You should write a story about this, like it should be one of your pieces in class, this is so funny." So he had a great time with that, but I didn't like it so much. I was able to finish out the year after that and get better, and I didn't have to talk too much. There was a couple times I was called on in class, and I had to write notes to the person next to me to say, I'm not contagious, but I was sick and I can't talk. Can you tell the professor that I can't be called on? So I had to do that a couple times. But other than that, it was still an up and down kind of first year for me. There's a lot of things that happened, but I got through it and I'm so glad to be here, and I've had a really great time for the most part. It didn't end great though my first year. I was in my last exam of my freshman year of college. I was almost done and it was crazy, and it was going to be the summertime, and after everything I went through, this was the last thing standing in my way to summer, was this one last exam. It was kind of my toughest class I had that semester. I've been studying so hard. But I was writing, and we were in a big lecture hall, and I was sitting, I was trying to think of the answers and everything, and then someone threw up behind me. So yeah, it ended with someone throwing up behind me in my last exam of my first year of college after I'd already had mono on my first day of college. So a lot has happened. I'm just glad I made it through it. So that sucked. I was so focused on the exam, and then that started happening, and the TA came over because he saw me kind of being shifty and moving around and like looking at other people kind of thing, and he thought I might be cheating. So he came over and he said, "Is everything okay?" Oh my gosh. And then he realized what was going on. So yeah, the professor had to come over, and he said that I could move seats, so I had to take my exam in my bag and go up to a different row and then try to refocus after all of that. But other than that, I made it through it. I'm in my last year of college at this point, and boy, am I relieved to almost be done. But yeah, it's been a crazy time and a good time. I've made a lot of friends. I've learned a lot of lessons. I've learned a lot, and here I am today. So that's my crazy first day of college story, where I went to the ER, found out I had mono, and I went back home. If you want to see more story times like this, let me know in the comments, or if you want to hear more about my college experience, let me know. And make sure to hit that like button and subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a post. And I'll see you next Saturday. Bye!